Hey, what's up, y'all? We about ready to do this? All right. All right, we connecting. That's good. That's good. Everything's connecting. Came across something interesting on the back end. I'll tell you guys a little bit about it when we get ready to start the show here. But we're going to start in about 60 seconds or less, all right? I'm just trying to get the thumbnail, and we'll pretty much be ready to go here. It's kind of weird because my OBS did something kind of new there. I guess I'll tell you about it now, right before we go live. Yeah, so I had everything ready to go. And once I decided, okay, I'm ready to go live, all of a sudden through OBS, they were trying to tell me I had to pay money just to be able to stream to multiple platforms. And I thought that was kind of weird because I've never seen that kind of message before. So I had to figure out if that was spam or what, but it was actually legit. Like OBS was actually trying to navigate me to pay money. I'm like, no, because for some real reason it logged me out. OBS, it logged me out, and I thought that was kind of weird. So I had to actually log back in, put in my stream key once again, all of that. It's kind of crazy, but all right, we got a show. Let's go ahead, let's do this.
Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, for Wednesday night of February 24th, 2021, you're checking out an all-new The RCWR show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Lee Sanders here. How the hell y'all been, man? A couple of minutes removed now from NXT and also from AEW Dynamite. I love the fact that we're here on a Wednesday night and we're talking about this. I'm starting to find my groove here. If you guys have been noticing the past couple of weeks, I'm finally starting to find my groove here with regards to covering shows again on Wednesday nights while dealing with such a nice big platter of a hectic schedule between work and school and everything. And there's a lot of homework that I have this week. I haven't even gotten half of it out the way because I got a nice little breather from last week when I finally had completed my very first essay for my professor in my English class. And I had to, I'm sure you college kids know all about this. You gotta, in your essay, you gotta tackle your hook, what's your thesis, and then your supporting arguments for, the point that you're trying to make and all that. So I felt all good. I'm thinking, all right, I get a breather. I get a couple of weeks off from the next essay. And before I could even relish in the fact that I got myself an A on my essay, nope, here we go. Nope, go to the next essay. So it's kind of like, you're killing me, Petey. You're killing me. But it's all good. So I've been spending most of my time working on my newest essay, and I haven't even scratched the surface for the rest of the homework I got due. A lot of it's going to be due Thursday, and I think most stuff it has to be turned in before next Monday night, basically before Raw goes off the air. So I'm going to be pretty busy between now and then. But it's nice. I got to tell you, now that I'm kind of starting to find that nice little balance, getting the groove of things and everything, it's nice finding that groove again. So we're definitely talking about NXT tonight. We're definitely talking about AEW. We got some interesting Samoa Joe news. We'll also talk about the ratings. I'll reflect on the ratings from last week and give you guys my thoughts on what's going to be going down with the ratings for this week. So all in all, we're going to have ourselves a nice, pretty solid show. Got a couple of little tidbits of some non-wrestling stuff. Of course, if you guys got some questions, wrestling, non-wrestling related, you can definitely sound off. We're streaming on the usual outlets. We got the Periscope, the Twitter, we got the YouTube, we got the Twitch, we got the Facebook. So however you're checking this out, welcome. So I guess the biggest piece of news we can start with, I mean, because as far as tonight goes, Time is not our enemy. Now, I don't want to be long-winded and I don't want to be here all night, but time is not our enemy tonight. I know normally I give you guys abbreviated shows. Tonight, that's not an issue, so we can really take our time with this. But I think probably the best way to open up the show here is the news about Big Show, aka Paul Wright, signing with AEW. It's so hilarious too, because I had spent part of this morning, so I actually woke up whenever I don't have to deal with work the next day. I pretty much just kick back, and I'll usually sleep in a tiny bit late, but I had a rough day yesterday. Yesterday I had got about 4 hours of sleep, and then I had to take my first class at 8 in the morning or whatever, and well, that was fun. And then pretty much I had a little bit of a gap in there where I was able to take an old man's nap and head out the door for work. But I remember I was feeling so fatigued and all that from yesterday. Normally when I have a day off, I like to be up probably like around 10 or whatever. But today I found myself up earlier because I actually went to bed earlier last night. And I was up until probably about maybe noon or 1 o'clock. I remember I got done watching the news and all that. And I said, okay, let me take a little nap. I wake up a couple hours later. First thing I do, I'm on my social media feed and I see the stuff about Paul Wright, Big Show, signing with AEW. And where I saw it first was on Facebook. And you know how it is sometimes with Facebook. And I've been learning a lot about this, particularly while I've been in class. And it's basically heighten my suspicions on social media platforms like Facebook as it is and everything, where, okay, is Facebook really the good guys here, or are they coming in here with some ulterior motives? Are they coming in here to try to heavily influence folks to think a certain way, maybe buy a certain way, vote a certain way? I won't get into all that on this episode unless you guys really want me to dig in on it, but it's a fascinating read as far as doing your homework on it. It just, anybody that's connected to our Patreon page, you've heard some of the spin-off podcasts that I've done with a couple of classmates. Yeah, so, but anyway, I'm on Facebook and I'm going, this can't be right. Somebody's got to be trolling. This has to be a good ass troll. And then I go on Bing, I go on Google, I type in the keywords, and it's, no, this is legit. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, this can't be. All right, so then I go on the AEW's website, and it's legit. And I'm going, oh, shit, this is fucking legit. Okay, cool. Big Show, being with the WWE since 1999. Think about that for a second. Since 1999, so for over 20 years, this man was with the WWE. And now all of a sudden, boom, he's with AEW. So what happened? Where did things fall apart? If it did fall apart, where did things go wrong? If it did go wrong? Let's talk about that without being long-winded here. And again, this is AEW news, ties to Dynamite and everything. So, I mean, first off, look, I know there were a lot of people on social media that were making fun of this. They were going, oh boy, Big Show signed with the with the AEW. But look at this. When he was with WWE, everybody was going, man, can't stand Big Show. Man, fuck that big giant looking motherfucker. Can't stand that dude. Oh, I wish he'd go away. Some people actually wishing death upon the man. I just think that's way too freaking extreme personally. But you see all this, he be hating or whatever. Then when you hear, oh, Big Show signed with AEW, you've got the same people that were saying what they were saying about him in WWE. Now they're going, woohoo! Woohoo! Big Show's AEW. Yeah, take that. Oh, we're really going places. And look, I try to be consistent as much as humanly possible on this show. Has there been times off and on over the years where I just hear the music, well, Big Show, Yeah, there definitely were times where I just, I groaned, and it was, you know, where my course of thinking changed though. It changed two-parter, and this isn't even long-winded. It changed when Triple H sat down for that interview with Steve Austin. And of the men that he gave a lot of praise for, Big Show Paul Wright, one of those people. And then the other thing that really, really made me take a step back and just, okay, well, wait a minute here, was when Big Show did the interview with Steve Austin. Remember that? If y'all don't remember it, go back, hop on the WWE Network. If you got it, you get a chance, check it out. That interview alone, I remember when I reviewed that episode too. It made me and it made so many of my colleagues, especially those in the podcasting world, a lot of fans say, okay, you know what? Big Show ain't so bad. He's not so bad. How can you hate this guy? And it just kind of felt as if at that point in his life, he was in a different mindset. This go round, this was about Big Show really wanting to give back to the business and everything. Now, let me add on top of that. Y'all remember the Big Show? What was it? It was like a WWE little mini doc series. Y'all remember? I believe it came out maybe last year even. I'd be shocked if you were to tell me it came out actually 2 years ago. But it feels like it came out last year. Might have been 2 years ago, though. Y'all let me know. But there was that docu-series where we had followed Big Show. God, we must have followed him for maybe, I won't even say a year, but the docuseries followed him for several months. He was dealing with an injury, and he was all about trying to come back. We saw all the rigorous training that he was doing, the rehab that he was doing, getting himself in really good shape, trying to come back and everything. And remember how that docuseries ended? It ended with this caption that just basically, pretty much said, Big Show's healthy. He's ready to go. Pretty much any day now, we should be seeing him back in the WWE universe. And we never really saw anything truly pop with Big Show. So between that docuseries, and then when we eventually see Big Show come back, there was one other time Big Show came back before that backstage spot there with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton saying, you're tired, yada, yada, yada. There was a spot way before that we had last saw of the Big Show. But you talk about shocking, when you hear that Big Show is now with AEW. It's shocking because you thought of all the individuals that were with the WWE, the tenure, and you're just going for who's going to be lifers for WWE. Big Show is one of those people, say what you will, negative or whatever, but he's one of those people that you would have, he's not going anywhere. That dude's a lifer. He's going to be down at the performance center. He's probably going to be teaching some classes. Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. But that's not the hand that was dealt this go round. So shout out to the good kind folks over at Fightful, as according to their sources, especially talents, management within WWE, totally blindsided. Nobody knew that this move was going to happen. Nobody knew this was going to happen. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody even got wind of it. And probably what was maybe most shocking for a lot of folks is the fact that Big Show just left without, bye everybody, saying his farewells. And some people may look at that and they may be like, man, that's just dirty. That's just fucked up. That's just cold fucking blooded. Let me tell you something. I've always had this mindset when it comes to employers. And I hope that you younger folks out there, if you aren't already having this mentality, you need to start having this mentality, which is when it comes to your employers, anything that happens, especially involving you, first and foremost, you need to jump out there with the mindset of nothing personal, just business. That has always been my motto. I had to learn at an early age with one of the first jobs that I actually had. It was actually right after I had done an internship down in downtown DC. There was one summer where I was working at the office for who was the mayor at that time? I think the mayor at that time was, I think it was Anthony Williams. That was the DC mayor at the time. So I actually was working downtown at the mayor's office, not working with the mayor directly, but I was working with a department that was connected with the mayor. It's basically the Office of Policy and Evaluation that I had worked for. It was a great internship. It was a paid internship too. Right after that job, I pretty much had did another internship with FedEx, but the first actual job, okay, no internship, full-time, boom. It was at a security job. And long story short, without being long-winded, I had got so buddy chum with the boss that was up there because he was relatively around my age. He was into the video games, loved to drink, loved to party, all that shit. And I'll never forget, there was a scenario, an incident that had went down, and I had to learn the hard way at that point in time that, hey, when it comes to work and tough decisions need to be made, nothing personal, just business. And I was at the chopping block on that one. So I learned at an early age, you know what, when it comes to these employers, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, all your needs that come to that job, that's supposed to come from that job, are being met. Personal obligations you have to yourself outside of work, to your family, things of that nature. You got to make sure all of that is on point, because if any one of those foundations is kind of rocky, you got to kind of take a step back and you got to ask yourself, okay, is that current employer that you're with, are they an issue in some type of form? And if they are, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? So I've done my best to never get, now I'm not telling you guys you need to be acting like robots. You need to take your job seriously 24/7. Look, if we were to operate like that, we'd be some boring ass motherfuckers. We'd be ready to just blow our damn heads off if we were operating like that. Everybody's got their favorite couple of coworkers that they like hanging out with at the job and everything. But there's no such thing as the perfect job. But you're always going to come across a scenario typically with that job where you go, man, I don't really like what's going on with this. I don't like how they're treating. You got a decision to make, which is, okay, do I want to continue to go through this, or do I maybe want to go in a different direction? So again, it comes back to the motto, hey, nothing personal, just business. All right. I remember right before the shit had hit the fan with the pandemic last year, when it was first popping, and March is when really we're just, wow, this is legit. Like, what the hell is going on here? Remember that, guys? Not too long ago, February last year, February of last year was the last month where everything was just pretty much normal and everything. And, you pretty much are hearing the whispers. You're hearing some shit going on. You're scoffing at it. You're going, that's going to pass. Ain't nothing really worried about. And then we saw how it really blossomed in March, and you're just going, woo, what the hell? And at that point, I saw how the pandemic was affecting my job firsthand. I mean, I and many of my coworkers were out of work for several days, going on a couple of weeks. And it was like, what the fuck? It was like, WTF? Seriously. And bad enough, off and on over the years, there'd be some periods where I'd have a little bit of downtime, but it wasn't as bad as how it went down with the pandemic when it first popped. It'd be one thing if, okay, you got 2 days off here, you got 3 days off there. Comes with the territory, you're in marketing research, but you got to have one, a patient, significant other / family that understands what's going on and are able to work with you and essentially kind of make a little bit of a sacrifice as their own, while you're trying to figure out, okay, what's your side hustle going to be to make up for X amount of dollars that's missing from this bill or this bill. You feel where I'm coming from? I know you guys do, because you all are an older bunch of cats usually. So when the shit went down with that pandemic, I just said, okay, no, I am not. I put my foot down. I said, I'm not. And I said this quietly to myself. I didn't let anybody at my job know the move that I was thinking. Although I did let it be known off and on over the years, hey, I want to move up. I want to be considered for management position, supervising position. I feel that I'd be a great asset here. These are my strengths. Look at what I've done so far. Blah, 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 blah. All that fell on deaf ears. So at this point, if you're kind of like me, okay, well, once I've let it be known, I'm interested in moving up, asking the right questions. What do I need to do? All of this. And it's all falling on deaf ears. Okay, well, do you just follow suit like everybody else and just be complacent? Take the hand that's being dealt to you? Or say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I might always have this job, but do I just go ahead and roll the dice and see what else is out there? I put my foot down. I said, I don't need this anymore. I'm like, this is where we're going. This is right at the start of the pandemic. I said, I don't need this anymore. Pulled a couple of strings and was able to jump ship. And when I jumped ship, I didn't make no big announcement about it. I didn't call up, those that I was friendly with at work. I didn't send no email, nothing like that. The whole time that I had been there, which was about almost 10 years, you guys know that there were probably only 2 people that actually had my personal phone number. Only 2 people. And one of those people wasn't even my supervisor, who I was extremely friendly with. Me and her would talk politics all the time. She was such a, I don't know if she still is, but at the time she was such a big Trump supporter. She would piss you guys off tremendously. I'm basically independent. I could go either way, and I always look at every single thing right down the middle. Okay, you'd want to have a good conversation with me. But man, when it came to her and Trump, you tried to mention anything negative about the motherfucker, and she was always defending the guy. I literally, over the years, saw her get into verbal fights with other coworkers about her political beliefs. And it was so bad, you just couldn't, you know the type of people I'm talking about. If you were unfortunate enough to deal with them in the workplace, you know exactly the type of people I'm talking about. They're the kind like, they're a bit overzealous, You're like, yeah, don't bring up that topic, because it was that toxic. But yeah, she didn't even have my number. The 2 people that had my number, one, I'm still friends with to this day. She actually lives in Colorado, and the other person that had my number, I'm trying to, I don't even think he's no longer there now that I think, not because of the whole pandemic, but I think he left way before I did, right? But I didn't let anybody know. The only person I let know was the same supervisor. We get this widespread company email that just basically said, we're all let go. And it's like, okay, well, kind of saw that coming, whatever. But at that point, I was already hired by somebody else. I had already begun working for the other employer. It was like, okay, I'm good. But then when they came back, like literally a week later, hey, we were able to get a grant. We want you guys to come back. I said, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm moving on. It's time for me to grow up. It's time for me to reach bigger and better things and not be complacent. And I reminded my supervisor, look, you and me have had conversations off and on over the years. You know how much I want more for my family. I'm trying to provide more for my family. I'm thinking more about a career path, not just a position. And that was it. So I know some people are going to look at what Big Show did, and you hear some of that story that's out there right now where, a lot of the people in WWE, wow, this was blindsided, didn't see this coming. You're probably going to hear some people felt hurt by this. Nah, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. You got to take care of you, yourself, your family. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So you know what? hey, the fact that he was able to keep such a guarded move like that so well kept from everybody else. I mean, really stop and think about it for a second. Do you guys recall last week? Hell, even 48 hours ago, that reports were, nah, shit just out of nowhere, right? So, Big Show being in AEW, I mean, look, they've already revealed that apparently he signed a multi-year deal. All right, he's 49 years old. He just turned 49 on February 8th. So he signed a multi-year deal. Part of what he's going to be doing, he will be a in-ring competitor, but he's also going to be helping behind the scenes, right down to the point, beginning on Monday, March the 15th. He's going to be co-hosting the new AEW YouTube series, AEW Dark Elevation or AEW Elevation. He's going to be co-hosting it with Tony Schiavone. Again, that's going to begin on Monday, March the 15th on YouTube. I'm actually going to check that out. I believe the start time for that is maybe going to be 7, I believe. So I'll have to go back and double check that. If anybody knows the exact start time, you feel free to let me know, and I'll make sure I relay that information while we're still live on the air. But I would like to believe it's going to come on an hour before Monday Night Raw. But, so I mean, that's cool. All right, so look at all of these things. Here's the other thing that you got to look at. Supposedly Big Show's contract with the WWE had expired last month. They weren't able to mutually agree on a deal that both parties could agree upon. So you hear that, you go, his show, the Big Show on Netflix, which was produced by WWE, it got canceled. He's having some personal financial problems, not the extreme. It's not one of those, I'm going to lose my home, damn. It's not one of those. But there was something I remember reading about his home, though. I do remember something along those lines, but he's not like, he's homeless or anything like that. So, for me, looking back in hindsight, I think what was probably a telltale sign of things to come. I don't know if any of you all follow conventions and things of that nature, but I follow the big event. And you longtime listeners know this. From time to time, whenever there's some type of a wrestling convention going on, WrestleCade, the Collective, any of those things, big event, normally I talk about it here on the show. I run over the card, give you the information and all that. If y'all remember some months back, I had told you guys, hey, Big Show Paul Wright, he's been announced for the big event. So if you guys were ever, thinking about getting his autograph and all that, hey, this is the place where you want to go do it and everything. And I remember I talked about it not only on the show. I remember I talked about it with my girl. And I said, hey, check this out. And she was like, Paul Wright. She's like, that's his real name? I said, yeah. She's like, and we kind of went back and forth about it. And we thought it was kind of interesting that he just didn't go in as Big Show. But then we thought about, WWE, they probably, but typically, I found that move that the big event was able to secure Big Show. I found it interesting a couple of months back from the standpoint of, wait a minute. Normally, WWE has to basically give permission for their talents to do stuff like this. You don't typically hear of a current WWE star doing stuff like the big event. You typically don't. Think about it for a second. Who do you normally see for a thing like big event? You see retired wrestlers, legends, folks that you ain't seen on TV in a couple of years now or whatever. Those are the names that you usually, are used to coming across or whatever. So the fact that Big Event was able to secure his services, I think for me, I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me, that was probably the first telltale sign of, well, you know what? What's going on here? Is this going to hold up? as we get closer to the summer, or, is things going to shake up? What's going on? But look, if you're asking me straight up what I think about this move, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this. They're going to be snickering, and, everybody's going to have their Big Show jokes. They are. Call me old man Lee. You can say maybe old age is starting to catch up to me. I'm not as funny as I used to be, or whatever. But look, good for Paul Wright that he was able to find work elsewhere. If you weren't able to strike up a deal with another employer, and you felt that you still had great value that you could provide to that employer, and they would not, work with you, especially out of all those years of dedicated service. An old friend of mine who passed a long time ago said to me, loyalty is for suckers. Every time I would see him at work, he would always say, loyalty is for suckers. And I would just marinate on that. And I remember I used to ask him, I used to say, okay, loyalty is for suckers, but you mean that for everybody? Or he's like, everybody. And I thought that was kind of a poor mindset to have. I don't think loyalty is for suckers. But I do think that loyalty can only go but so far, especially when you're scratching somebody's back, and when it's time for you to get your just due, you ain't getting it. You feel where I'm coming from? So the fact that he was able to, find work elsewhere, good. Let's see what AEW is able to do when it's all said and done. I see questions being asked about the ratings. Look, if you're new, I always go with the whole ratings breakdown and all of that. So, I got this. But again, if you want to ask some wrestling questions, some non-wrestling related questions, go ahead and post, and I'll get to it. I'll slide it in when I can. Super chats are open, by the way, for you guys. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in live right now. Let's talk AEW. Good segue. Let's talk about Dynamite tonight. Nice little card that they had. Look, overall, just kind of, because I wrote down the matches here. Just looking at both shows overall, I felt that quality-wise this week, NXT executed the better show. But not by much, because you almost could have made the argument that both shows were a bit average tonight. But quality-wise, I gotta give the slight edge more to NXT. But AEW Dynamite tonight, kicking things off. Remember, we're like 2 weeks away there from the Revolution pay-per-view. I had tried to get in contact with, I won't say who, but I had tried to get in contact with an associate to see if we could give away some codes to try to help you guys that, maybe financially you guys are a little bit hurt right now. You can't afford to check out the Revolution pay-per-view. So I actually tried to use my contacts to see if maybe I could, get a couple of codes and do like a little prize giveaway or whatever. And this was the second time now that I had got shot down by the same person. And, I'm kind of one of those people, okay, you say no to me twice, especially when I let a couple of months go by, and you shoot me down twice. I usually don't ask a third time. I usually don't. And I'm one of those type of people, it's like, okay, you need me to do something for you. Okay, it's done. No questions asked. When it comes time for me, kind of goes back to what I just said a couple of minutes ago. And it's kind of funny because the same person once in a blue moon, hey, I'll get a private message. Can you retweet this for me? Can you like this for me? Can you try to encourage your followers to check this out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. Sure. Yeah. Anything you need. Sure. No problem. But this is twice now that I've gotten shot down. The odds of me going to them again, I'm not doing it. So, as far as any, pay-per-view giveaways goes, going forward, I'll probably, not this pay-per-view with AEW Revolution. I think what I'll probably do for you guys instead, that might be struggling a little bit with money, I'll probably most likely stream the pay-per-view, and we'll probably do like a little hangout. So anybody that wants to watch the pay-per-view or whatever, I'll probably set something up in the Discord, and we all could just pretty much watch it that way, hang out and all that good shit. But any pay-per-views like in the near future that I'm thinking about, most people will be interested in this, I'll probably most likely be coming out of my pocket for it. And I got to work out the kinks, but yeah, FYI, that's what's going on. But yeah, 2 weeks away from the Revolution pay-per-view event, we open things up with Moxley taking on and defeating Ryan Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler's brother. I'm not sure how I feel about Ryan Nemeth just yet. My verdict on him is still out. I know we haven't done this in a couple of weeks on a regular basis at that. So for some of you guys that want my thoughts on Ryan Nemeth, I'm not trying to bash the guy, so please don't take what I'm getting ready to say as that. But he comes off like a great value version of Dolph Ziggler. You feel where I'm coming from? Hey, I want pizza. Okay, when you think of pizza, everybody, just take a moment. You don't have to say it in the chat unless you want to, but who's your go-to for pizza? Some of you may say Domino's, that's my number one. Pizza Hut, that's my number one. Lido's, that's my number one. Gino's, that's my number one. Whoever your number one is, Ryan Nemeth is essentially the great value version. Anybody that has shopped at Walmart, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're on a somewhat tight budget. You want to get that California kitchen pizza, or you want to get that Tombstone or that DiGiorno, right? You want to get it, but $8.99. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to pay $8.99. $6.99. Oh, that's a little. $4.99. That's a little too steep for me. I don't know about that. And then you see the great value pizza that's $1.75 or $1.99 or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that instead. And remember what your mom or your dad used to tell you when you were a kid. Hey, if it sounds too good to be true, yeah, it probably is. Or better yet, remember son, remember daughter, remember kid, you get what you pay for. Remember that? You get what you pay for. And you're eating that pizza and suddenly you're going, you know what? This isn't exactly as good as the DiGiorno, insert the name of the pizza. So my verdict on him is still out, but that's the first impression that I'm getting right now. Look, the in-ring ability, he reminds me too much of Ziggler. Way too much of Ziggler. But at the same time, I'm still seeing a case of, yeah, you're off to a good start, but you're just starting to scratch the surface. That's where I am right now. So, but I'll keep my eyes peeled on him. And anybody that disagrees with anything I said there, please, it's not just my show, it's our show. So sound off on that one. I did appreciate the fact that the way this match was booked, we didn't have this be a case where this went into a commercial segment and then come back from a commercial break. I appreciate the fact that we as fans, we didn't have our intelligence get insulted like that, because, the whole thing is, okay, Moxley, former champion, tough as nails, tough son of a bitch, tough as steak, hard as nails. Yeah, he should be able to pretty much steamroll through this guy. So I was appreciative of the fact that the match was short. I mean, I think this match probably went about maybe 3 minutes when it was all said and done. So that was a nice little spot that they did right there. Moxley having some choice words for Kenny Omega and their match that they're going to be having in a couple of weeks. exploding barbed wire match. I'm actually looking forward to that bad boy. From there, Varsity Blondes took on Brian Cage, Ricky Sparks. Cage and Sparks picking up the dub. Post-match, lights go out. We get the entrances of, shown on the same Titantron image there, but we get the video graphics for Darby Allin and Sting. We're wondering, where are these guys? Are these guys just going to come right out from the gorilla position, or are they going to come from the stands? Where are they going to be coming from? We see Sting, he's casually walking his way to the ring. All right, so he's essentially the diversion, so to speak. We've got Darby Allin, who is coming from the rafters on a zip line. And it's funny, too, because all I wrote down for Darby Allin, I wrote down Zipline Allin. That's all I wrote down. I wrote down Zipline Allin. And you just see him come down there with his skateboard. Nice little beatdown that they did there. I appreciate the fact that Brian Cage sold for Sting this week. I saw that horrific joint. Yes, for anybody wondering, I did watch the shows from last week, and I did see that ridiculous spot where Taz is, hey, big man, yo, you got your bat, you think you're all big and bad, put down your bat and let's see what you got. I did see that little spot and everything. I know some of you guys probably want to point out to me, Lee, it sounds like AEW took a page out of your book from a couple of weeks ago, because anybody that was listening a couple of weeks ago, I had mentioned the idea of why aren't we jumping Sting and Darby Allin backstage? How are we going to be scared of a guy in his 60s with a goddamn bat and a kid on a skateboard? Ooh, let's back off. It's like, okay, these guys are probably still going to be hanging around backstage, beat the shit out of them. Get your comeuppance there, right? And, they essentially took that page out of my book, but the level of what the fuck was just, I was left scratching my head. On the one hand, I'm getting excited as I'm seeing it play out, but it wasn't laid out as the way I had mentioned it. Like, I'm cringing like a mofo over that. But, and by the way, the no selling that went down with Brian Cage from last week. That's the spot that had really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Look, I love Brian Cage. Brian Cage is he's the beast. He's a fucking beast. No doubt about that. I just wish that, from last week, somebody would say, hey, look, Cage, I need you to sell a little bit here for the Stinger. I didn't see no selling from Cage last week, but he redeemed himself this week. Appreciate that. Redeemed himself this week, big time. And I love the fact that essentially it had to take two guys to beat the crap out of Cage. I'm all right with that. That was fine. Nice little spot that they got. Sting, Allin, getting their comeuppance. Good shit. Another backstage segment. There was a talking segment that Tony Schiavone had with Miro, Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford. Miro still reeling off of what went down with that wedding from a couple of weeks ago, challenging Best Friends to a tag match. We see Schiavone get interrupted as, I guess, the grip guy, using some Hollywood terminology there, grip guy or whoever you want to call, helper, whatever, stagehand, whatever you want to call him, came up to Schiavone, handed him a card, and they kind of pulled a George Strait song there, did Best Friends. They give this little card, and those of you that know your country music, I think this is how love goes. Check yes or no. They basically had that for Miro in the gang. Hey, we want to fight you in a tag match. Check yes. Check this box for yes. Check this one for no, or whatever, or maybe. And Miro kind of accepting the challenge, but telling them, look, you boys need to act like men. Come to the arena next week. Come to my face. Let's do this like real men. So that pretty much was, it was what it was there. Brandon Cutler taking on Jake Hager. It was okay. I really wasn't invested into it like that. I was more interested. I had a nice setup tonight too. I was here in the studio working on my essay, and at the same time, I'm literally doing a split screen. I've got one screen on my computer that is showing me NXT, and then I've got my tablet. I milked my tablet good tonight. My tablet, at the time I was getting ready to come live for you guys, my tablet was down to about 28% juice. But on my tablet I had AEW going. So I'm literally doing three things at the same time. Yeah, that's usually how I'm multitasking each week too. So I'm literally watching both, but I found myself being more interested in the Zoe Starks taking on, who did she take on? Io Shirai. I was more interested in that match. I don't know if you guys kind of do the same thing when it comes to the split screen, but like if I'm finding something that's a little bit more interesting, I'll actually turn the volume down on the one I'm not really interested in, and I'll turn the volume up on the one that I'm interested in, and that's what I had pretty much did during the NXT joint. Look, I'll say this: Brandon Cutler's got some tight ass gear, man. I'm feeling that gear of his. It is fucking badass. I'm digging it. Got that whole dragon thing going on and all that. I'm digging that. Seriously, I'm fucking digging that. I mean, he's coming out like a fucking badass. Like he's gonna do some serious fucking harm to somebody. I really fucking dig that. That one was a bit of a little bit that I saw. It was a decent match. Seemed like the guys probably went about maybe 5 minutes into it. If it was less than that, I mean, okay, cool. I like the fact that Jake Hager made short work of Cutler, because after all, he's Hager, whole MMA, he's this powerhouse kind of juggernaut, technical wrestler of a guy. But, also at the same time, you're looking at this, if you're keeping track at home, this is the third match in a row that was like either, okay, this is a squash or this is an instant win when it comes to involving Brandon Cutler. All I'm saying, maybe it's about time we start switching it up a little bit and maybe rotate on some of these guys. That's just all I'm saying. Inner Circle, they came out attacking Cutler. Young Bucks came out to back up their friend. MJF, Jericho, surprisingly, weren't there. You're kind of going, what's going on here? Matt Hardy, I'm sorry, I was meant to say Matt Jackson. Yeah, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. They're in the ring talking trash about MJF and Jericho when those boys appeared on the Titantron, and it turns out they actually had assaulted the Young Bucks' dad. You just knew something lingering was going to happen, because right before there was a commercial break, actually no, they came back from a commercial break, and you see the Bucks, they were with their dad and mom. I know their dad, I believe that was the mom too, but I know dad for sure. And you hear Tony Schiavone and them commentating, and they're saying, oh, I had never got a chance to meet the Bucks' dad. He's a real class act, very nice man, blah, 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 blah. A couple of segments later, boom, we get to that spot. So when we see Jericho and MJF appear on the Titantron, they apparently had beat the living crap out of the Young Bucks' dad. I gotta pause on this note. I've seen a few blade jobs in my time. Hell, when I was doing a little bit of backyard wrestling here and there, I did a couple of blade jobs on myself. And I gotta tell you, that was the poorest segment that I've ever seen in my life, because you're looking at Daddy Buck. That's what I'm calling him from here on out, Daddy Buck. You're looking at Daddy Buck, and it just looks like somebody had cracked open a big ass bottle of fucking Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and just went, let me just, okay, you need some around the head. You missed one. Okay, there you go. You're good to go. I mean, I just looked at his face was making me hungry. I mean, because you're just looking at his face and it's like clear as day. He's got fucking barbecue sauce on his fucking face. I'm surprised nobody walked up to him with a fucking hot dog and just, hey guys, what's up? Oh, excuse me a second. And just take that hot dog, put it back in the bun. That's what was missing. It looked so bad. That was so bad. It looked so fucking comical. We can do better than that. Come on, guys. You got that good Tony Khan money and everything. Come on, man. We can do better than that. Seriously. So yeah, they beat the crap out of Daddy Buck. By the time the Young Bucks were able to get backstage, see to their dad, then run off, try to get a hold of MJF, Jericho, they had already drove off out of the arena. So that pretty much was the end of them. But good funny shit right there. Look, putting that to the side, when these two teams do get ready to lock it up, that's actually one of the matches I'm looking most forward to for Revolution. That should be a damn good tag match. All right, from there, Alex Marvez, he's in a... actually, right before that, after that Jericho MJF spot there with the Bucks, we did get another match. One of the guys from Private Party, sorry, his name escapes me right now. Still learning who's who here. For the Private Party guys. One of the Private Party guys took on Heyman Adam Page. That actually was a damn good competitive match. As far as, that match was actually pretty damn good. For the night on AEW side, I gotta go with, Heyman Adam Page and Private Party. I thought that was actually a pretty damn good matchup there. Heyman, Adam Page going over in that one. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. I could watch those two guys do that shit again. I think Isaiah Cassidy. I'm gonna put some respect on that young man's name. Isaiah Cassidy was the one that took on Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I put some respect on that. Good showing for Cassidy. I gotta tell you, as far as, okay, let's see what you can do against the Hangman here. Cassidy really rose to the occasion. I gotta say that Private Party, as far as like when I look at the roster overall for AEW, as far as individuals and teams and all of that, Private Party really jumps out to me the most right now. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that I'm able to see them on some Tuesday nights on Impact Wrestling. But this was Cassidy's strongest showing to date as far as having a singles match goes, because when you think about him and Private Party, it's always tag team action. So the fact that he got a chance to show off his skills in a one-on-one, good shit. One of my favorite matches of the night. So if you didn't watch Dynamite yet, I would say go out of your way, check that one out. You guys will definitely appreciate that one. That one, and definitely, I'll talk about it in a little bit, Nyla Rose taking on Britt Baker. That was another one that was actually pretty good. And the main event match, I would say for your matches of the night, those three were actually pretty damn good. Alex Marvez is backstage as, I guess he popped up in some type of a workshop area, wood shop, whatever you want to call it. He's chatting it up with Kenny Omega and Don Callis. Don's wondering what the hell is Marvez doing there, and Marvez is trying to get the scoop on what are they up to, and apparently Kenny Omega is putting some final touches on, I guess, some of the props that's going to be used in their Extreme barbed wire, explosive barbed wire, whatever the hell they're calling that damn thing. I'm sorry, but I had a hard time processing taking Kenny Omega as a insane. I mean, this dude is fucking out of his. Stay away from this dude. He's a killer. I had a hard time, really. All I saw, and I know I'm like an old fart right here, but all I saw during that whole thing was the Bruce Springsteen music video, I'm on Fire. Look that up if you guys want to have a nice little chuckle, and you guys will definitely, I see why you're thinking that. But it's literally, and for those of you that are kind of like, oh, I'm being lazy today, I don't wanna look on YouTube I don't want to, just tell me. So basically, it's a classic song from Bruce Springsteen's catalog. The music video was tight as fuck too. So the music video, and you're not cheated of the song whatsoever in its entirety, because the actual song runs like barely over 2 minutes or some shit like that. It's a short song, very simplistic, well detailed, one of the best well written songs by Bruce Springsteen as far as I'm concerned. But the music video, we find that there's this beautiful lady. We never see this lady's face. All we see is her legs. We see her skirt. That's pretty much it. She's got some nice fine heels on. That's pretty much it. That's all we see. But we do hear her voice. And apparently she's come back to this car dealership, this car mechanic warehouse, basically, because she had some problems with her car last time, and Bruce Springsteen's character had helped her out before, got her car rocking and rolling and everything. Well, she's back again to have her vehicle serviced, and she's talking to Bruce, and all you see during the whole video, you see Bruce as he's working the car, he's under the hood and everything, working it, and then when he sees the heels, he slides right out. He's got this nice little smile on, and they're going back and forth about fixing the car. When could he have it ready? And, where should he drop it off? Or should she come to the shop and pick it up? Blah, 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 blah. But all I thought about when I saw fucking Kenny Omega there and that fucking... I wasn't thinking, all right, Kenny Omega hardcore. Kenny Omega's getting hardcore. Kenny Omega's getting raw, riggedy raw. Kenny Omega about to kill a motherfucker. I'm not thinking about any of those things. All I'm thinking about is, hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Tell me now, baby, does he do to you the little things I don't do? Go look up. You'll see. Just do a juxtapose. Side by side. Just do that, and you'll see exactly. You'll be like, yeah, I got you, Lee. Hilarious shit right there. I just laughed my ass off on that one. All right. Let's see. Next up, we had. That actually needs to go to NXT's column. Next up, we had the semi-final tournament for the women's. Nyla Rose taking on Britt Baker. Love this matchup. This could have went either way. I'm looking at this and I'm going, man, who's possibly going to get this? Is it going to be Nia? Is it going to be Brit? Surely it's going to be Brit. Yeah, Brit. And I started reminding myself about the tournament when I began talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and I remember saying something along the lines of, well, Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa at the end, that'd be kind of badass there. Nyla Rose going over on Britt Baker. I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised by that. I was definitely a little bit surprised by that. Weird. It was very weird, though. I mean, if you ask me straight up from my personal opinion, I'm not being unbiased either. I just felt that with Britt Baker continuing to put in the work week in, week out, just the consistency and the dedication that she is showing to her craft to be an all-around better performer, I just personally felt that she should have continued to advance in this tournament. And, it kind of rubs me the wrong way that Nyla Rose, and look, and it's not Nyla Rose's fault by any stretch, so I'm not putting any blame on Nyla Rose. Look, when it's all said and done, these men and women, they got to go out there. There's a job they got to perform. That's it. All right? They ain't going to ask no questions or, this is what's expected of them. They're going to go do what they got to do. But it rubbed me the wrong way seeing Nyla Rose win, because if I got to call it for what it is, 1 minute we see Nyla Rose. Then the next minute, Nyla Rose is gone for 2 weeks. 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks. You know, I mean, she's doing these sporadic appearances here and there. You know, meanwhile, somebody like a Dr. Britt Baker, you know, she's there on a consistent basis. And for me, I just really felt that, well, wait a minute here. You know, no, it makes more sense to have Britt Baker go over. Nice little interference help there by her girl, Reba. Very weird. Very weird. I don't know. I don't know what this means. I mean, you could look at this and you could almost make the argument, Nyla's definitely going to be winning this tournament. I wouldn't be so quick to say that. But as far as going into the finals, I mean, at this point, yeah. But, yeah. I don't know. Convince me otherwise. Convince me otherwise that Nyla Rose deserved to advance. Convince me otherwise, guys and gals. But for me, Britt Baker, that was the way they should have went. But either way, damn good match. Damn good match for a women's match. That was actually a damn good match. And now that I'm really looking at this, I can't believe that we only had one women's match tonight. I'm looking at this card again. Yeah, we gotta do a little bit better than that. At least on NXT. They gave you 2 women's matches. We gotta do a little better, AEW. Come on now, step it up. We gotta do at least 2 to 3 women's matches on Dynamite. I mean, we should be able to do that. We get a card rundown for AEW. There was a lot of information that they gave in there. So much information. I was ready for them to just say, go to our website. Because I'm serious. I've never seen such a rundown and so much information that was being given before in my entire life. I mean, it was a serious rundown. So much, I just gave up typing it up because, I mean, they were just zip lining through that. Let me see if there's anything here officially as far as the rundown for next week. Give me a second here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. If anybody wants to post a quick little rundown for next week, go ahead. But I mean, you guys know me. Monday, I usually will preview what's getting ready to go down. Yeah, it was a lot of information though. It was like overkill. I'm not exaggerating. Trust me when I say it was overkill. Let's see. Main event match. Lance Archer taking on Rey Fenix. Yeah, good main event. Good fucking main event. No question about that one. That one was actually pretty damn good. You know, I know Tony Khan was really big on this match, but calling it a match of the year candidate, I don't know if it's a wise move to jump out there. I don't know about that because we're still early in 2021. I think that there's going to be loads more solid action that's going to be coming from AEW this year. And when it comes time to, okay, what's the top 10? Hey, as good as this match was, I don't believe it's going to be even in the top 10 when we look back on the year in AEW for 2021. That's just it was a good match, but I wouldn't be so quick to just go that far and be like, match of the year candidate. You know, we got to be careful now. We got to be careful with that. But it was definitely a good match. It was definitely a very good main event quality caliber of a match. Archer has consistently been a very good big man in AEW. I love the way that his matches are booked. I love the fact that even when this man is defeated, it's a big deal. I love that. I love, you don't see enough of that being told in in wrestling today, when you look at all the other promotions that's running around, there's not enough of wait, who defeated him? Say that dude? What? And it's always I'll give AEW that much props, man. Like when it comes to Lance Archer, when he loses, it's a big deal because you see so much upside in this guy and just the way that he's being booked and everything. And I love the way that he's continuing to be groomed for eventually the main event picture. And I think he's gonna make a fine ass fucking world champion whenever that trigger does get pulled. But he continues to shine for sure. And great dance partner that he had in Ray Phoenix. I mean, I can't give all the praise alone on this night to Archer. He had a damn good dance partner there in Ray Phoenix. But pretty good Dynamite. Bit average in some areas because look at all what I just went through. So when you look at just so basically we had 1 match, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I reading this right? Looks like 6 matches. Is that right? Let me go back here. Yeah, 6 matches. 3 of them were good. Rest of it was pretty much cookie cutters there. Yeah. So a bit of an average show, but 3 matches. And again, the matches I would say go out of your way, check out in the exact order. I would say check out the Hangman Page taking on the Private Party dude, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and then just jump right to your main event match and you'll be good to go. Hey, you guys been enjoying the show so far? If you have, sound off. Appreciate those of you that's checking in, tuning in to the show live right now, be it Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Shout out particularly to our Periscope audience. FYI, I believe in March, I think late March, Periscope is going to be no more. I guess Twitter decided, we need to move on. So Periscope is going to be shut down. Nobody's going to have access to it. It's going to be deleted. So for you guys watching on Periscope, if you haven't made the effort to check out the other outlets we're on, the Twitter, the YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, you definitely want to start having that ready to go. But please, you can continue to, as long as you're watching on Periscope, you can continue. I'm just giving you the heads up now. I'll remind you as it gets closer. But however you're checking out the show live, appreciate you guys. Y'all been having a good time. Make sure you hit the like button, especially like on YouTube, platforms like YouTube. Lets the YouTube guys know you're enjoying yourselves, enjoying the show. Helps them out as far as recommending the content and everything. Or do the hard, spam the hard. You guys know the usual stuff to do. Subscribe. That's the most important thing. Make sure you subscribe. All right. So, hey, I want to get into some shout outs and then we'll talk about NXT and then I'll reflect on the ratings from last week and offer some thoughts on what's going on with this week's ratings. I also got a poll up right now asking you guys who had the better show this week, NXT or AEW. Now, there's a poll on Twitter at the RCWR show. Kept it simple, AEW, NXT. You guys that want a little bit more variety, go on youtube.com/the RCWR show, click on the communities tab, and you guys will be able to see that there is a AEW, there's an NXT option, there's a Thai option, there's even a neither shows were good options. So sound off on one of those 2 polls and I'll share with you guys the results in a little bit. Shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Remember, that's the place you want to go to for exclusive content, audio, video content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Like my exclusive trilogy podcast series that I did with some classmates. And we went over many aspects of the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. We have that series in its entirety ad-free and everything. Only place you're going to be able to find it is on Patreon. So check that out when you guys get a chance. But shout out to Patreon members Gino Morgan. Gino! Shout out to Justin Stock. Shout out to Freddie. Appreciate you, Freddie. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to J.D. Davis. Tony Bing Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. Tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, and reviews. Tony Bing Gaming. He's on YouTube. And he has a Patreon paywall as well. Just search Tony Bean Gaming. And a special shout out. And I guess we can kind of get into this right now while it's still kind of AEW related. And we're getting ready to make the segue into NXT. Special shout out to Anthony DeBlasi. Hang on here. I just want to reach this. All right. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi, a.k.a. Don Tony. He did this really cool prize giveaway a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that he had up for grabs was this really cool kick-ass Sting poster. And I forgot what the grand prize was. And he does a phenomenal job in his prize giveaways with the questions that he asks. It's good shit. I'm not going to borrow it either because that's his thing. That's his baby. But I like the way he does it. And I had played along in this one. I normally don't play along and stuff like that. I normally don't. But he had this really cool Sting picture that was up for grabs. And he knows how much of a big Sting fan I am. So I entered and everything, and I actually had got second place. I wish I could remember what the grand prize was. But I got second place, and I was able to get the Sting picture. So I'm going to open this up right now. If you heard a little bit of ripping earlier, that was me actually just tearing off the little tab here. So I'm going to actually open this right now, and you guys are going to be able to see this live on the air. No, I'm not going to be giving this away. I'm actually going to be hanging this up on the wall. Those of you that see my wall collection so far, y'all know I got a nice collection that continues to build here. And but shout out to Anthony. This is badass. And I like the fact that also, Anthony, you have no idea how much I appreciate you putting this in the kind of envelope that you did and writing photo do not bend in multiple areas, because I'm sorry, I'll call it for how I see it. My mailman over here is stupid as fuck. My mailman, he just is so lazy. He will actually try to put stuff like this in our mailbox when clearly it has no business being put in the mailbox. You need to go drop it off at the doorstep. He's just lazy. He's lazy. Unless you say something, do not bend, don't bend, please. Under no circumstances, do not bend, or it's a big ass package and you have to drop it off at the doorstep. He's going to try to ram shit in the fucking mailbox. I don't know if you guys got a dumbass mailman like that yourselves, but yeah. So let's see what we got here. Oh, I love how he did this. On top of putting do not bend, he also has there we go. He's also got it in a plastic hardcover here, it looks like. So that's cool. And it looks like there's a little cardboard thing in here too. It's a bitch to get out. I'm struggling here, guys. Hang on. I am struggling. All right. Okay, let's take that out. Okay, that's one. All right, and then let's try. There we go. Make sure I'm not missing anything else. Nope, that's it. Okay, cool. Oh, wow, that is badass. That is badass. Vintage Sting, too. Check that out, guys. Let you guys get a good look at that. That is badass. I see there's a certificate of authenticity in the back too. So that's pretty badass. That is badass. This is definitely gonna be going up on the wall. And I think I'll probably have this go right next to my Sting picture where me and the Stinger shared a pic from Awesome Con. Boy, that was an awesome moment. That was an awesome moment. I think I told you guys. Yeah, I told you guys. But for you newer fans, I had actually met Sting at Awesome Con 2 years ago. He had a great Q&A and everything. It was a great experience. Great fucking experience. Got his autograph too. I actually had him sign the big gold belt. So as it stands right now, I believe Sting and CM Punk, they're the only two guys that have signed the big gold belt so far. If you ask me, who would I like next to sign the big gold belt? I would love it if I could get Taker, Kane, Mark Henry. I would love it if I could get one of those guys to sign next. That'd be pretty badass. So that is awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging this up, man. Once again, thank you. Thank you, DT. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Let's get into some NXT. NXT, good card. Good card tonight. So Samuel Shaw took on Johnny Gargano in the opener there. Now, I sadly cannot remember who won that match. It kind of feels like maybe Gargano had actually won. Talk about a serious numbers game. No. Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis had won. And that was despite the fact that there was a big numbers game going on because Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Austin Theory, all of them were at ringside. But apparently Dexter Lumis has a way with the men and the women. So I guess despite the fact that Austin Theory was kidnapped by Dexter, he has some type of affection for him, so to speak. Annie Hartwell, on the other hand, she digs crazy and she really thinks he's hot. So we kind of saw them get greatly influenced by Dexter Lumis. Yeah, somehow Dexter Lumis pulling in an upset W there. Post-match, Gargano talking with his group, trying to find out what the hell was going on. Why weren't they all on the same page? And yeah, some interesting development right there. You can't help but wonder, okay, so where are we going with this here? Where are we going with this? How's this exactly gonna end? Is Dexter Lumis going to be successful in getting Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell? Is he going to be successful in prying them away from the Garganos there? Like what are we doing with that there? MSK backstage segment, they were about to react on winning the Dusty Cup tournament there when they were attacked by the grizzled young veterans. Next up, Zoe Stark, she was talking with William Regal backstage. William Regal was pretty impressed with her from last week. Decided to award her by having her have a match against Io Shirai, a non-title matchup. I know I'm kind of jumping just a little bit, but it's okay. We're still kind of pretty much going with the flow of things. Now, look, for those of you that are not really familiar with Zoe Stark, I know some of you guys may be tempted to say Zoe Starks. That's okay too, but no, it's Zoe Stark. She is somebody that I definitely remember seeing on the independents, because remember, I've been doing this now since 2011, and I've had my share in checking out some independent promotions and everything, and she definitely was somebody I recall seeing in previous years. There actually was a period where she didn't wrestle for about 3 years. She's been active since about 2013, and she's mainly wrestled for promotions like UCW, Sabotage Wrestling. Big bulk of her stuff was pretty much in Sabotage Wrestling. She also did DCW. I even remember there was 1 year in Impact Wrestling where she makes sporadic appearances, and I do mean sporadic appearances. You could literally count them on your hand. But I remember each time I was seeing her work, I was like, wow, she's fucking badass. This girl's fucking badass. And rightfully so, because when you dig deeper and deeper into her bio and try to figure out, okay, well, who's all the people that had a hand in training her? Cheerleader Melissa had a hand in training her, and Alice in Danger. So if you know your women's wrestling, you know those are two names pretty well respected and everything. So to see her finally be on a platform where we can basically see her on a weekly basis, I welcome it, because normally, unless you are connected like that to some of those promotions, and that was just some names that I had mentioned there that she worked for, but unless you're, know your shit like that, it's like, they're just a new face to me. But yeah, it's nice to be able to see people that I came across their work off and on over the years. It's nice to be able to finally kick back. Wow, now I get to see this person on a weekly basis and really, really see, what I've been missing. Because, for some people, when you find, I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me personally, when I find that, oh, this person's badass, like randomly on a weekend, I'll just be looking at some random wrestling shit on YouTube or Daily Motion, and I'll come across somebody, and I'll usually make a little mental note. Okay, you got their name? Okay, good. See if you can keep tabs on them, see what else they're doing. There's some people that you sadly you forget about over time and everything, but she's definitely been somebody I've been, once in a blue moon, wonder what she's up to. So she's got a great fucking look too. She does. Very cute. Very cute. She kind of has a tomboyish thing going on to her in the face. I like it, but the greatest compliment I can give her, and I do find these women to be very attractive. She reminds me so much of Seven of Nine, from fucking Star Trek. She reminds me of Seven of Nine meets Linda Hamilton in Terminator. I mean, she's got this weird combo thing going on. And that's badass. I mean, that's a great look. That's a great look to have. It's kind of funny too, because there's like literally a girl at my job. It was my first time ever seeing her face, because where we work, we're always wearing masks. Only time we take our mask off, obviously, is when we're eating or we're drinking. And I'm usually drinking water every day. I'm usually trying to do my best to stay hydrated. And somehow she ended up showing me a TikTok video with her dog. And I just remember saying to her, hey, cool, how many views do you have so far? And she told me. I was like, okay, you're off to a good start. And she's like, yeah, one of my videos, it's got 7,000. I'm like, wait, 7K? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell were you doing? And she showed me all she's doing is just walking on the beach. But she's got big boobs. Okay. Now I kind of played it off. She's like, yeah, it was because of this video, me and my big boobs. And I played it off. I said, I didn't even see that. I was like, all I saw was a pretty face. And she goes, oh, thank you. I was like, no, I mean that. And because I told her, I said, that's my first time actually seeing your face. And those of you that know your female wrestlers, you'll get this. So I told her, I said, here's how it links back to female wrestling and all that. I told her, I said, yeah, you remind me of Barbie Hayden. And she goes, why does that name sound familiar? I'm like, oh, she's a female pro wrestler. She's a model. She's mainly doing stuff on Twitch. And my friend was like, or coworker rather, she's like, well, what's Twitch about? Tell me about Twitch. So I told her about Twitch. And I'm like, yeah, but look up Barbie Hayden. And she's like, oh, yeah, I am. I'm looking her up right now. And as soon as she looked her up, she's like, oh my God, you think I look like her? I was like, yeah. She's like, wow, well, yeah, I actually do see the similarities. Thank you. I'm like, hey, you're welcome. So, fellas and ladies, you see somebody that you like and they kind of remind you of a wrestler. Who knows, man? That might be a surefire way to get over with that person if you're trying to break the ice and all that. So, good luck to you. And no, I didn't use that line, the flirt. I just called it how I fucking saw it. She legit looks like Barbie Hayden. I bullshit you not. And now I know there's going to be a decent amount of you guys. Let me see how Barbie Hayden looks. No, she literally looks like Barbie Hayden, slightly older, Definitely has boobs like Barbie Hayden. I'll tell you that much. Anyway. Anyway. Leon Rush. Leon Rush took on... Now, do I have this guy's name right? Is it Tyler Russ? I actually want to go to the official name for this guy. Yeah, Tyler Russ. Verdict still out on Tyler Russ. I'm more into Leon Ruff. I've told you guys repeatedly, Leon Ruff reminds me of ROH's Cheeseburger. You know, so I love Leon Ruff. This Tyler Russ dude, I'm indifferent right now. Verdict is still out on him. But yeah, that match never even actually got popping because Isaiah Swerve Scott attacked Leon Ruff from behind. I mean, was knocking him down, dragging him all over the place, beat the holy crap out of him. And that's pretty much how that ended. So I don't even think that match officially even began when it's all said and done. All right, so obviously we're transitioning to Swerve Scott taking on Leon Ruff. That actually should be a pretty damn good match. Both men complement the hell out of each other in size, stature, and all that. So I think that's going to be a very high-paced, very energetic matchup. So I'm actually looking forward to that one when they do finally lock it up. Zoe Stark, good effort against Io Shirai, non-title matchup. No fuckery involved in this one. No shenanigans involved in this one. Just a straight up one-on-one matchup. Good outing between the two. Io Shirai picking up the W, about 12 minutes. Pretty much winning with the moonsault post-match. Toni Storm came out. And you saw a really nice, classy move by Io Shirai, because Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, they actually shook hands and everything. But Toni Storm came out and said, you know, hey, champ, I find it kind of odd that you're willing to face anyone but me. What's up with that? I think you're afraid to face me at any time, any place. So what's up? What's the deal? And she basically told Io Shirai, tell you what, why don't you let William Regal know, you know, if you're really scared or not. So Io decides to come right back. No, I'm not scared of you. You want a shot at this title? Come on, go ahead, bring it. So, all right, champion, pretty much. You want some? Come get some. So more on that to be continued as far as when and where they're going to be throwing it down. All throughout the night, we saw these little backstage segments with Cameron Grimes. He's growing on me, man. He's growing on me. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Kind of feels like his story is so perfect right now because it is essentially a combination of two things. It's a combination of your everyday Joe that decided to invest some stock, you know, through Robinhood or whatever, in GameStop stock, and you try saying that 10 times fast too, by the way, and they become rich as a result because they pulled out at the right fucking moment, meets one of my all-time favorite TV shows when I was a kid growing up. I actually still watch it to this very day, once in a blue moon, The Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, I mean, this whole Cameron Grimes new story, it's got a great combination of both of those, and I'm fucking loving it. And I love the fact that he was so inspired by the $1 Million Man spot, where $1 Million Man's with Virgil, and he's like, hey, little kid, you think you can dribble this basketball? You think you can dribble this basketball 10 times? If you can, I'll give you $1,000 or whatever, $100. Yeah, so we see him going throughout the community, just randomly trying to get people to dribble the ball, you know, and he gets fucked out of $2,000 with total with two people that he tried to do this with. One of them was a girl. I mean, he even tried to kick the ball and she fucking spun around his ass. I mean, she got game. The third guy, He wasn't as fortunate. He was dribbling. He was doing well. Cameron Grimes pretty much cold clocked him in the face. And if you want to stop somebody from dribbling successfully 10 times, that's one way to do it. I mean, just reminded me of the fucking vintage Hawaiian punch commercials. You know, how about a nice Hawaiian punch? Sure. Wham! You know, knock the shit out of it, dude. Good shit right there. Good shit. Let's see here. Casey Catanzaro was in action against Xia Li. Xia Li chewed her ass up. Real good. Real fucking good. Caden Carter went up to argue with Tian Sha. But Boa had stepped in. Basically, Caden Carter did like the continue added insult to injury that was going on pretty much post-match and all that. And Xia Li did declare to Caden Carter, she's next. So, yeah. By the way, I'm liking what's going on with this new dark Xia Li, this Mortal Kombat, evil spirits have taken over. I'm liking this. I'm liking what's going on here. Let's see. Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, they were in action against GYV, the Grizzled Young Veterans. Grizzled Young Veterans picking up the dub in about 8 minutes. Look, man, I'm still not feeling Grizzled Young Veterans. I'm still not. I mean, look, with the exception of soon, with the exception of that, there's really nothing else that I particularly care for when it comes to GYV. There's nothing. There's nothing. Good performers, good in-ring performers, but when I saw Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, I legit was excited. That legit put a smile on my face. Post-match was kind of interesting though, because Drake Maverick, he took most of the beating during that match, and post-match, I believe it was Alexander Wolf, who's with the, God, what's that fucking stable? Imperium. He actually caught up to Killian Dane backstage as Killian Dane had Maverick in his arms and he was trying to get him some medical help. And Wolf says to him, "What the hell happened to you? You used to be a monster. What the hell?" And he just walked away disgusted, and those words kind of touched a nerve there with Dane, who all of a sudden just dropped Maverick in a chair and demanded that help come over. All right, so now we see automatically that, all right, seeds are being planted there, that eventually Dane is perhaps going to turn on Maverick for perhaps good and become that monster once again. But is he going to be a solo monster? Or is it going to be a case where Alexander Wolf, although he's speaking the truth, maybe he's also thinking of a power move and somehow getting Killian Dane to come on over and partner up with him? You can't help but wonder those things. You can't help but wonder that. So, interesting development that went down there. Interesting development. But then also, let's not forget. Remember the history between Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. You pretty much got to go back to your days in Sanity. I mean, it feels like it was an eternity now, but we're talking 2016. You got to go back. Remember? You had Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, Killian Dane, Nikki Cross. So I'm very curious to see where this arc goes, because is this going to be a case where Alexander Wolf is just trying to remind Killian Dane who the fuck he is? What the fuck he needs to be? And or, hey, come on over to Imperium. Or is this maybe Wolf, you know what? I think we need to get Sanity back together. God, could you just imagine Sanity getting back together? That would be very, Very interesting. But my question, who would replace Eric Young? That's the only thing. Who would replace him? Would you maybe replace him with Elias? Or do you go in a completely different direction there? Don't ask me why I mentioned Elias. Elias was just somebody that just kind of popped in my head there randomly. But let's pretend I didn't say Elias there. Then who would you get to replace the Eric Young spot? First of all, would you even need to replace the Eric Young spot? That's the first question. And then if you answer yes, then who would you replace Eric Young spot? Who would you have in there? Interesting. Very interesting. I think as it stands right now, you could probably get away with just Wolf, Dane, and Cross. You could probably just get away with them for a hot minute. Oh. You know who actually would be perfect? Yeah, he'd be perfect. Why not put Abyss in there, Joseph Park? Why not put him in there? Give him an alter ego or whatever was maybe worked out for him. One of multiple times he came close to signing with WWE. Maybe you could have him slide in there. Anytime he does wrestle, it's pretty much tag matches, but pretty much it's all about, really further advancing, further pushing, those other names. There you go. So we solved it there. So can't wait to see what happens with that, though, seriously, because I'm curious where that story arc exactly is going to be going. All right, so from there, let's see. Package of Nia, Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. Trash talking that was going on from last week. They're going to be locking it up for those women tag titles on next week's NXT. And let's keep going. Let's see, I think main event match for NXT. Street Fight, Killer Cross taking on, I was about to say Pablo Escobar. Oh shit. I'm not even sleepy. I'm just like, oh god, I was getting ready to say Karrion Kross takes on Pablo Escobar. It's like, damn, Lee. Pablo Escobar was dead. Karrion Kross found him, huh? Like, yeah. Can you believe that shit? Santos Escobar. Good main event match of the night. Killer main event match. I enjoyed it. And remember, this match was pretty much going head to head with AEW's main event match and the Murder Hawk Lance Archer taking on Rey Fenix. So, nice back and forth there. I love, oh man, if I had to choose between the two though, I kind of got to go a little bit more with the street fight. The street fight, just so many interesting elements to it, especially when you look at the fact that it was technically Karrion Kross fighting three men, because Kross was fighting Escobar's stooges, so to speak. I hate to call them stooges, but his lackeys, his henchmen or whatever. So that pretty much was happening all throughout this, I'm calling it a street fight, but it was officially dubbed a no DQ match. From fighting backstage in the parking lot, going over to the production truck area, and I loved all of that. All of that shit was just fucking badass. Karrion Kross picking up the dub in that one. I think the right guy went over in this one. Personally, I think the right guy went over. I don't really have a problem. I don't really have a problem with the fact that Karrion Kross had went over in this matchup. Not at all. But this was good. Just from fighting outside to eventually, because it took a whole segment where they were fighting outside, and then when they took a commercial break, we come right back, and they're still kind of fighting a little bit outside, but they're pretty much picking up the action going back inside. Yeah, that shit was good. That shit was good. Closing moments, Cross power bombing Mendoza into plexiglass, then goes after Santos. Cross puts him through a table with a Sato suplex, then adds another inside, gets the win with his forearm there. I mean, it was nice, sweet ass spot, all throughout. Nice sweet spots all throughout that match. Good no DQ. Karrion Kross going up, looking like $1 million fucking dollars as usual. You're not gonna find me saying anything bad about Karrion Kross. I'm patiently just waiting for this guy to just move up to the main roster already, cause it's like, let's do this already. Fucking A, let's do this already. Get a video package for LA Knight, who basically talks about his debut. It's going to be on his time, on his terms. Final moment of the night, we get the big follow-up from what had went down at TakeOver. Is this the end of the Undisputed Era, the UE? Adam Cole comes out apologizing for what happened at TakeOver, saying he lost himself, he wasn't thinking. It was stupid what he had did, attacking Roderick Strong. Was stupid attacking Kylie O'Reilly. He knows that O'Reilly is watching at home, continuing to suffer through his injuries, but that, he's sorry for what had happened. Roderick Strong comes out. Man, he had like 10 days to think about this, and you're just now saying sorry? Like, you realize what you did? You've caused so much damage to all of us. We're supposed to be a family. We're supposed to be one. How can we be the same after this? You betrayed that trust. Hear the music of Finn Balor. Finn Balor comes out, bringing the fight right to Adam Cole. Roderick Strong, trying to have his boy Cole's back, was actually getting up on the offense on Balor. Balor tried. But then all of a sudden, somehow Balor disappeared. I'm kind of wondering what the hell happened right there. Roderick Strong and Balor just going at it, and then all of a sudden, Balor just magically fucking appears. I ain't catch what happened there. I don't know if he got knocked out or what. But anyway, Roderick Strong gets in the ring, checks in on Adam Cole, apologizes to him, asks him if he's okay. Cole just says, stupid for what happened. I'm so sorry. I let you guys down. Strong, yeah, it happens. It's okay. I love you. We're still brothers. It's okay. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. Roderick Strong comes to his feet, tries to help Adam Cole up. Adam Cole comes in with the low blow. Big, juicy low blow. Lays out Roderick Strong. I actually humbles him with that low blow. Puts him on his knees. Calls him stupid. Rips off, I guess, a UE chain from around his neck. Around Roderick Strong's neck. Super kicks the shit out of him. And that is pretty much how NXT goes off the air. So, once again, to kind of follow up on what we were talking about on TakeOver a while back, it's really looking as though the end of the Undisputed Era is here. And just the way that they've been kind of planting the seeds with this over the past couple of months, I've been appreciating it. They haven't been rushing it. When you look at, that's the one thing I will say as far as how they've handled it. And then when you look at the inconsistency that was going on there with the Inner Circle, 1 minute they're in Vegas, they're having a good time. Oh, we tight. And the very next week, we're going to implode. We need to take a week and think about if we're going to be a team or not. And then, very next week, we're a team. And then the next week, all this fighting. But in NXT, they've been doing this. They've been doing this with the UE just right. I'm waiting patiently to see the element there that, oh God, what is his name? What's that football player's name? Because he essentially, in storyline, was warning everybody about Adam Cole, about the UE, And now it kind of seems like it's coming to fruition. Everything that he was trying to warn everybody about, now in story, it's kind of coming to fruition. I can't think of his name right now. Jesus. And he was running around with Pete Dunne, a couple of other guys. Pat McAfee. That's who I'm thinking of. Pat McAfee and that little stable that he had running around. I'm waiting to see them collide with Adam Cole. Now that the UE has pretty much imploded, really from within. I'm like patiently waiting to see that element get brought back into the mix there. I can't help but wonder also, just thinking long term, what does this mean as far as post WrestleMania? Are these seeds, were they being planted because we're about to see a couple of guys from UE? We're about to see a couple of them get brought up to the main roster. Is that what's going on? And if so, who's going where? Is Strong, O'Reilly, do they maybe go to SmackDown? And Cole goes to Raw? Do you maybe kind of do something like that? Should you do something like that? Kind of interesting development that's going on there. And then what about Fish? What do you do with Bobby Fish? Or maybe it should actually be Bobby Fish and oh, it's interesting. It's an interesting dilemma there. I think Kylie O'Reilly eventually would be a damn good NXT champion. So I actually think Kylie O'Reilly should stay in NXT. Yeah, I think Kylie O'Reilly should stay in NXT. Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong go to SmackDown. And Adam Cole goes to Raw. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you disagree with that, that's totally okay. But defend your point. Defend your argument. But yeah, both shows this week, you know what? They did okay. They did okay for this week. I definitely gotta give them props. They did all right. But again, as far as the quality goes, I think NXT edged out more just from the point of their quality and execution of their matches. My personal takeaway. So I had a poll. Wanted to know what you guys had thought about this week's shows. So let's see what we got here. Let's load up the Twitter, and we got the YouTube going here. All right, guys, let's see what you guys are saying here. All right, so on Twitter at the RCWR show, I'm seeing that 60.7% of you are giving NXT the edge over AEW for this week. You're saying NXT had the better show. 60.7% of you felt that, while 39.3% of you felt AEW had the better show. Let's see what's going on here via YouTube in the communities tab section. And if you haven't voted yet, after you hear the results, just go with the poll that you feel is the best representation, okay? Wow, interesting. So again, here on YouTube, the poll is very interesting. So we got a tie at 10%. The tie at 10%, because remember on YouTube, I gave you 4 options. So we have a tie at 10%. 10% of you felt that NXT had the better show, while 10% of you said neither show was better this week. All right, so you're pretty much looking at it as a tie. But 80% of you felt had AEW. 80% of you felt that AEW had the better show. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now that you've heard that, if you have not voted yet, please just go with the poll that you feel best represents. I'll be paying attention to this until, let me see. Well, I know the Twitter poll is going to expire around 10 p.m. Thursday night. So you got till Thursday night, and that's when I'll just kind of take a snapshot photo of the final tally results there. Now, as far as the ratings go, let's talk about that, because somebody in the chat earlier Looks like it was Owen. He wanted to know, do I think NXT will beat the AEW ratings? His exact question, do I think NXT will beat AEW in ratings for this week? Let's look at the ratings for last week to kind of get a better gauge on that. All right, this isn't long-winded. So on the one hand, NXT and AEW, they both had huge segments on their shows from last week, which was February 17th. Both shows saw an increase in their viewership compared to last week, okay? So NXT and AEW, they went up, AEW taking the lead once again as they drew 747,000 viewers, NXT pulling in 713,000. So when you compare the numbers for, again, last Wednesday's show, compare it to the previous week, AEW had drawn 6,000 more up from that previous week of 741,000 viewers. And then their rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, that is also up 0.02 from the previous week's 0.29 going up to 0.31. Okay? Now, despite NXT not pulling in as many viewers as Dynamite, their ratings saw the biggest leap of the two compared to the 558,000 viewers tuning into the go-home show of NXT before NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. The ratings for WWE's NXT jumped by 155,000. In the 18 to 49 demographic, NXT drew in a 0.16 rating, highest they have achieved so far this early in 2016. So, let's mainly home in on what they did last week respectively. AEW 747,000, USA's NXT 713,000. So look, let's pull up a calculator real quick here, okay? Let's pull up a calculator real quick here. Oh, nice. There's another update on my phone here. I'm with Android. There's another update. What's going on with this update? You just told me there was an update. What's going on? I must be... Oh, nope, I see it. Bear with me. Blah, 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 blah. What's new? One UI 3 upgrade. One UI 3 is designed to help you focus on what matters. Our visual redesign has improved. Blah, 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 blah. All right, I'll install that in a little bit. All right, so I got my calculator here. So we're going to add up those numbers from last week. 747,000. And we're going to add that with 713,000. All right, so pretty much we got 1,460,000 viewers. All right. I'm going to say for this week, this is a tricky one. Interesting. I'm going to say AEW wins, but not by much. Again, remember what I said earlier. NXT had the better show as far as the quality goes. But, couple of key areas. I mean, just look at that opener. AEW kicks things off with Jon Moxley. You go over to NXT, you've got Samuel Shaw taking on Johnny Gargano. I just kind of feel like with that segment opener between the two, I just kind of feel like AEW probably won for that segment opener, okay? So pretty much after that, MSK attacked by GYV, Leon Ruff, being propositioned to take on what's his face later on. Another backstage segment. Zoe Stark. Little backstage joint with Cameron Grimes. Meanwhile, as all that is going on, you got Varsity Blondes taking on Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Sting. I mean, they should win in that respected segment. Yeah, I'm going to say AEW. I'm going to say AEW beats NXT. I'm going to say... So if AEW had got 747,000 viewers from last week, I'm going to say... First question, do they gain or is it a decrease? That's the first question. I'm going to say they, yeah. I'm going to say they gain. Not much, but I'm going to say they gain. I'm going to say they gain 779,000. It's AEW. Again, AEW, I'm going to say 779,000 viewers. NXT, see, they did 713. I'm going to say they gain. Not by much, though. I'm going to say 733,000. All right, AEW 779,000, NXT 733,000. So when you add both of those up, hang on here. Let's see. 73,000. Actually, back up a second. 73,000. Okay, so total viewers, we're talking 1,512,000. So that would be a gain of. Let's see. We can easily figure that out. Let's add. Damn it, calculator! There we go. We can easily figure that out. So let's go back. Let's take that 747,000. And let's add that 713,000. Now let's take that total amount and let's minus the 1,512,000. So we're talking about a gain of 52,000 total. 52,000 total is what we're talking about as far as a gain. So we'll see what happens. Usually I'm pretty close to being accurate when it comes to these ratings, especially when I've had a good opportunity to really sit down and really look at the ratings. So we'll see what happens. Would it shock me if NXT were to win? No, but I just been kind of noticing what's been happening with these trends. You feel me? It's like even when you feel and you know that, well, no, this show clearly had the better show because of the quality, and the matches that they have. You just look at the card, you just kind of see that flow that's going on there with AEW. But yeah, I think where it counted the most, I'm definitely seeing some losses from both. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, well, while this is going on, folks changed the channel and they went over here. But I think there's going to be definitely some growth on both sides for this week. So we'll see what happens. And as soon as the ratings become available, I'll definitely be posting them on social media, giving my thoughts and all that. But remember those numbers that I gave out there. Okay. Let's see what else we can get into because we got a little bit more showtime left. Matter of fact, how are we doing on time, by the way? All right, we're about 2 hours, almost 2 hours into the show. So, and again, time is not our enemy tonight, so we don't need to worry about time. So it's official. Taya Valkyrie has signed with the WWE. She's officially part of it. And she took to social media as well as her husband, John Morrison, with social media earlier today and everything. So Morrison congratulating his wife. And Taya Valkyrie, she had this to say: for those that have been on this decade-long journey with me, you know how badly I have wanted this. I've sacrificed and dedicated my life to this, moved across continents, learned languages, immersed myself in new styles, cultures, and experiences with the overall goal of making it one day to the WWE. I have worked my butt off, and today my dream has come true. I promise to work harder than I ever have to show the world who I am as a performer and human being. I love my life and take absolutely nothing for granted. I'm hungrier than I have ever been, and now the work begins. Thank you to all those that have supported me, and to those that don't like me, well, too bad. Shrugs emoji. I know my worth, my talent, and I will always strive to be better. Now buckle up, because this is going to be interesting. Let's get to work. So, very happy for her. This is a long fucking time coming. And it's always nice to be able to follow somebody's career, and you finally see them come to the big stage finally. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she's going to be able to do. But WWE had announced their largest class yet of those that's going to be reporting to the Performance Center. So we've got Bronson Rich Steiner, who's the son of WCW and WWE Tag Team Champion Rick Steiner. He's coming to the Performance Center. Stands 6 feet tall, weighs 230 pounds, was an All-American running back at Kennesaw State University. We got Kira Megan Foster, known to wrestling fans as Taya Valkyrie, 11-year veteran. Just told you about her. Sean Ricker, who recently debuted on NXT television as LA Knight, former NWA television champion. Hey, let's not forget former Impact champion too now. Come on now, put some respect on that man. Angela Arnold, trained for the Squared Circle under WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, competing as, I don't know how you pronounce that one, AQA? Aqua? She's impressed in for action for Booker T's Reality of Wrestling promotion, as well as Shimmer. Parker Bordeaux, Winter Garden, Florida, stands 6'4", weighs 300 pounds. Big man was an offensive lineman for University of Central Florida. Caught the eye of Paul Heyman on social media. I feel sorry for this kid, because when you look at this kid, I mean, he literally looks like Brock Lesnar, and it's so sad that wherever he goes now, just imagine. Look, this is the best part about the fans not being in attendance right now. Whatever they need to do with this young man, they're going to be able to do what they need to do. But sooner or later, when the fans are back, my God, he's going to be dealing with those fucking Brock Lesnar chants. Can you all remember what went down there with Mason Ryan? Mason Ryan was, oh my God. And I remember, I don't think we talked about it during our interview, but because he was, and I'm not saying, I'm sure he would agree with this. I remember when we were asking Mason right before the interview, he cared very particular about what was going to be discussed during our interview with him. He really wasn't trying to even bring up the whole Batista comparisons and all of that. And I respect that. I respected that. To my knowledge, I don't remember touching that during the interview. But I remember there's like one or two other things that was... but can you blame the guy? I mean, here's a guy that never really truly got the opportunity to show what he could do, as everybody was just calling him a fake me out, rip off Batista 2.0. I just hope that with Parker, the fans aren't so quick to, be like that. And have seen instances where fans don't act like that. Alex Hammerstone comes to mind. I remember there was a period there where he was looking like Triple H. Even kind of sported Triple H like trunks, colors, and all that, but I don't really remember him being heckled like that by the fans. Barely noticeable from the little bit that I can recall. Maybe from what I was seeing, maybe there was a lot more, and I maybe I missed it or whatever. But that's one kid I'm pulling for him. I really am pulling for him. Anthony Henry, standout competitor from Evolve Wrestling, has competed on WWE Network. He's been in the ring with superstars like Street Profits, current NXT Tag Team Champions Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, Nash Carter of MSK, and Roderick Strong. Chance Barrow, better known to fans as Harlem Bravado, is a veteran of the independent scene. North Carolina native, has found success as a singles and tag team competitor and made his way to Japan to compete for Pro Wrestling Noah. Teresa Serrano, now competing as Zoe Stark. We just told you about her earlier. Christian Brigham, Massachusetts native, 6 years experience in the ring under the name Christian Casanova. Priscilla Kelly, it's a good grab right there. Drew Casper, brother of Jacob Casper, who joined WWE PC in October 2020. 285-pounder, was a two-time All-American heavyweight wrestler, and was a number one seeded wrestler in the NCAA Division III tournament before it was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Brianna Cota, now known as Cora Jade, 19-year-old Illinois native, who's been competing in the ring since 2018 and who debuted for NXT in the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Let's see here. We got a couple more names. Christian Hobble, former college cheerleader who has broken out on the independent scene in recent months. Tennessee native, made a name for himself under the moniker Blake Christian in promotions like PWG and GCW. Matrick Belton played Division I football for the University of South Carolina and has attended training camps for the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles. He has prepared for the rigors of the ring by training at the Combat Zone Wrestling Academy in New Jersey. Cameron Clay has been competing in the ring for 4 years under the name Cameron Brené and has been in the ring with the likes of NXT Shotzi Blackheart. Cool. Joe Areola, 25-year-old amateur wrestler also from Illinois. How about that? Undefeated state champion and national champion in high school. Areola wrestled for the University of Buffalo in college, qualifying for the NCAA tournament in 2016. We got two more here. Taylor Grado from Clearwater Beach, Florida, competed as Avery Taylor for promotions like Evolve and Shine. All right now. And Carissa Rivera of New Jersey made a name for herself on the independent wrestling scene for promotions like New and Women's Wrestling Revolution. So, I mean, this is, I guess, a very impressive class of recruits that they've got this go round. Look, obviously, not everyone is gonna make it, but man, they sure as hell got a damn good shot at succeeding. So, but that's the full rundown of everybody that's got picked up and everything. That's your class. Curious what names kind of jump out to you the most that you're expecting nothing but the best from, hoping nothing but the best from in their career in WWE. Let's see. Tom Holland had revealed the new title of the next Spider-Man movie. I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but we've got Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. The official title for the next Spider-Man movie is called No Way Home. So, love that. I love that. I love that. So, everybody is going to be back. And as we all know, we're going to have Dr. Octopus's Alfred Molina. He's coming back. Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield. Kristen Dunst. Emma Stone. Apparently Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil on the Netflix hit series, supposedly he's gonna be in there as Daredevil. I mean, so this is a lot of good shit that's going on right now, man. And in other interesting Marvel news, I don't know how many of you guys are aware of this, but the contracts that Marvel had with Netflix concerning Jessica Jones and Punisher, those expired. If I'm not mistaken, they expired late last week. So now the Jessica Jones and Punisher characters can officially be involved in whatever when it comes to the big screen, or even in a Disney Plus, Marvel series or whatever. So that's badass. That's fucking badass. I hope that the good folks at Marvel continue on with the Punisher and the Jessica Jones series in some capacity. Maybe you do a couple of tweaks here and there, add a couple of new cast members, but as far as John Bernthal and I can't think of my girl's name, Kristen Ritter, you definitely got to have them come back. You definitely got to have them come back, and I hope they do come back. I hope they do. Because remember the deal, we talked about it off and on over the years. Remember what I was telling you guys. Sadly, when Netflix decided, okay, we're going to cancel these shows, we don't need any more, there was a clause in that fucking contract that basically stated, hey, Marvel, you guys can't do anything with the intellectual property, as far as doing a TV show, having them do a movie. You guys can't do anything for 2 years. And so that's the spot that Marvel found themselves in. Now, on top of that, Netflix, they'll be able to continue streaming those Marvel shows. I think the terms of the agreement was maybe 5 years. So we've got like 3 more years left of these shows being on Netflix. And then what happens after that? Who knows? Who knows what pretty much is going to happen after that. But that's pretty much where we stand right now with that. Also, there is some Loki news for you guys. If you guys have been patiently waiting, trying to see what's going to be going on with that new Loki series and everything. First off, it looks like give me a second here. It's going to arrive June 11th, the Loki series. Again, June 11th. That's when it's going to be happening. And then there's an animated Star Wars, The Bad Batch. That's going to hit on May 4th with a second episode arriving on May 7th. And then afterwards, it's that particular series, it's going to be released every Friday. But again, the way it's looking right now, as far as your spring lineup and all that goes, mark these down. March 19th, that's when you'll be able to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. March 19th, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. March 26th, The Mighty Ducks, Game Changers. April 16th, Big Shot. May 4th, Star Wars, The Bad Batch. May 14th, High School Musical, the series, Season 2. June 11th, Loki. Also on June 11th, Zenimation, Season 2. June 25th, The Mysterious Benedict Society. July 2nd, Monsters at Work. July 16th, Turner and Hooch. And on July 23rd, Chippendale Park Life. Again, series premiere of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Friday, March 19th. And then pretty much new episodes will be released every Friday. You all that just care about Loki will premiere on June 11th. So bookmark that. You're welcome. Interesting Samoa Joe news. Samoa Joe recently did a interview with Sportskeeda. Shout out to the good folks over there. For the most part, they write some pretty good articles and they do some pretty decent interviews. He addressed his commentating work as far as this long extended break from being in the ring. You know, I know a lot of you guys have probably been wondering what's going on with that. You know, well, yeah, when are we going to see him get back in the ring? Well, here's a direct quote. Feel free to marinate on it. As far as the timetable, no. But I just want to reassure people that, this point, WWE Medical is doing the best for my health and my well-being, and I'm appreciative of it. So we're taking our time. We're making sure that I'm as healthy as I can be. And we are. Yeah, I think that's essentially it. I'm not putting a timetable on it because the type of injury is not something that I want to rush, obviously, for obvious reasons. So yeah, that's essentially the update. He would go on to say, and obviously too, there's been some holdups from a technical standpoint with the pandemic going on and availability of medical personnel. But for the most part, we're taking a careful, measured approach. And although I don't think my in-ring career is over by a long shot, I'm appreciative of the recovery time. And my health is being respected at a premium. So he also, for those of you that need your memory kind of jogged, remember he's pretty much been out of the ring in a physical capacity since February of last year when he suffered a concussion during a photo shoot. And then after that, he was suspended for 30 days following a wellness policy violation. So that's pretty much where we are right now with Samoa Joe. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. Let me take a quick swig. I'll be honest with you guys. I miss Samoa Joe in the ring. Sincerely, I do. And off and on over the years, I would always hear people say, whether it be in social media, Reddit forums, Discord even, there would be those that would say, why can't Samoa Joe be a world heavyweight champion? All the guys on this roster, this man should definitely be a world heavyweight champion. And I always point out to them, well, sadly, he keeps getting injured. It's not his fault. It's just look at, just stop and just use common sense for a second. You look at the rigorous style that he was working, pretty much years upon years between ROH and then when he came over to Impact Wrestling. Look, not for nothing, it wasn't like Impact Wrestling was on the road multiple times a week like WWE, but still, for the style of wrestling that he was doing between ROH and Impact Wrestling, and then to finally go to WWE, but he goes to WWE so late in the game. That's the thing. And then to basically adapt that rigorous schedule. He was better off in NXT when you really kind of take a step back and think about it, because you could almost say to yourself, maybe 1 or 0 injuries happening while he was in NXT, and he's out for a significant period of time or whatever. Everything did not start happening as far as injuries and concussions and all of that, not till he made the transition to the main roster. So you got to factor in father time and all of that. Look, no bullshit. If we were to take Samoa Joe from when he initially came to the WWE, have him come at a time when the pandemic first hit. Oh my God, that trust me, that would be like the easiest fucking year, most likely for Joe. Because think about that for a second. You're in there, you're wrestling your opponent. Obviously you're able, with the fans not being there, you're able to pause and, hey, hang on, let me get a breather real quick. Give me a couple of minutes here. You could do that. But then here's something else that y'all need to think about too. The best thing that they got going for themselves right now is definitely from a recovery standpoint, recuperating standpoint, because once they're done with the show, they put in their work, they can pretty much just ride down the street. I would assume that most of these talents have found some type of property in the Florida area temporarily, I would think, right? Or they hop on that first flight and whatever, and they get to enjoy themselves for the next handful of days off. But in most cases, a lot of these cats, they're, either going to a hotel room, recuperating, or they're going to their home, instant recuperating, and then for some, like I said, they're able to hop on the first plane, go back home, and, they're pretty much chilling and all that. So, just imagine if you were to take a Samoa Joe when he first came to the WWE, but then the pandemic, like, that first year for Joe would just, physically, he'd be all right. And then just kind of seeing where we are now with this pandemic and light at the end of the tunnel. You feel where I'm coming from? So, yeah, that's one of those things I've always told people, if WWE and he felt in his heart of hearts, just take a Samoa Joe from when he signed, have him be 10 years younger. We probably would be good. We probably would be fucking good, but I hope he comes back. I miss seeing him in the ring. There used to be a point in time where I missed, there used to be a point in time where I greatly appreciated his work on commentating. I mean, he was just, for me, he was better than Corey Graves early on there. But, boy, I tell you what, them handcuffs got put on him real quick. Peep him out next time if you don't believe me. Let's just listen to his commentating on a typical Monday night. Man, there used to be times where Raw would be shitty, but I enjoyed myself because Samoa Joe was bringing the fire on the commentating. Now, it's almost like Samoa Joe is like, hey, I'm here. I don't blame him. I mean, look, if I'm being told I need to, at first we're loose with it, but then it's like, oh, look, we want to have you do this regularly. The fans are liking it, but we want you to, and there's so much restraint or whatever. I kind of wish that was something that was actually talked about during this interview. And shout out to anybody that's able to get an interview with Samoa Joe down the future. I would like to hear the record really be set straight. Be like, hey, what's going on with your commentating? It used to be a time we heard you, pretty much, you were all over the place in a really good way. It seemed like you were unshackled, but now it kind of sounds like you're being, you're being, not necessarily held down, but you're being restricted a little bit. What do you say to that? The people that feel that way? I'm most curious how he would answer that question, but it does come off that way. You compare his commentating to when he first began, and there was a guest spot, and we're all hollering, ranting, and raving about it. And then when you get what you get now on a typical Monday night. Let's see. Other than that, guys, I think we're pretty much good. Let me just see if there's anything else we need to get into. I don't think there is, though. I mean, nice short week as far as content goes. Nothing really to be talking about. Hey, I do have some major news I want to share with you guys. Some good news too. If you guys are fans of the Amazon music platforms or Audible, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is now on those respected platforms. So when you guys get an opportunity, please go out of your way and make sure you subscribe to those respected outlets. Support the show. It's another way of trying to help the show evolve. That's basically it. It's all about helping the show evolve. So made my day when I found out the news. I actually found out earlier today that the show had got picked up on those respected platforms. So now that I've put that out there, I would imagine that in the coming weeks, I'm going to, because I'm already seeing from one platform that I recently joined, I started seeing the growth from that specific platform, how far as how folks were accessing the content and everything, and I thought that was really, really fucking badass. Bear with me a second here. I don't know why you guys got that. I'm seeing the first stream that we put up earlier, so I'm deleting that now so nobody gets confused. Sorry about that. So yeah, check that out. That's going to be good. And let me see. Other than that, I'm just trying to look at the thumbnail. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, we're good. Oh, by the way, thoughts and prayers with Tiger Williams. Very, very tragic to hear what was going on there with that horrific car accident. Thank the powers that be. The man was wearing his seatbelt. I mean, could you just imagine if he was not wearing his seatbelt? Like just how, I mean, that we probably would be having an entirely different story right now. Tiger Woods definitely, everything that this man has gone through in his personal life, everything, the drugs, the alcohol, my God, that man has been through so fucking much. It's not even funny. And time again, he has defied the odds. But I don't know about this one. You got a lot of those close to this situation. Of course, they're speaking on condition that they remain anonymous. They're saying that with the damage, the significant damage at that was done to his legs, they doubt he's going to be able to ever play golf again. And then you got some that's saying, well, you know what? It's too soon. Maybe let's wait and see what happens. But majority of those in the medical professional field that, were able to find out what they were able to find out, they're pretty much saying, yeah, as far as his golfing career, he's done. I don't know what the future exactly holds for the man, but thoughts and prayers are definitely with him. I can remember being a teenager in high school and he was coming up through the ranks and everything. And let me tell you something, no matter, I mean, there was a point in his time where he was bulletproof. I mean, he was just looked upon very godlike, other than Michael Jordan. I mean, Tiger Woods was just, I mean, he was right there. People of all ages loved him. People of all races loved him. And, when that shit had went down with the whole drugs, alcohol, all of that shit, and while everybody, all the media outlets were coming in there being salacious with their headlines and all this other shit, us black folks were the only ones that, that's all right. He's still one of us. Everybody has their own flaws. Nobody is perfect. Hey, we're going to embrace him. He's going to get through this. He's going to be all right. And keep in mind that this came at a time when Tiger had reached a point in his life where, he would do his very best to back away from acknowledging his black heritage. Keep that in mind. He would do any and everything possible to not even acknowledge that he's African American. And you got the media that just, for you folks that are a lot younger, you won't know this. You got to do your research on it or talk to a parent, a loved one that remember vividly, show them this part of the show and they'll tell you, like, yeah, what Lee's saying is exactly accurate. Despite the media acting the way that they were acting, and I mean, media just has a way. Media is a double-edged sword. The media can take you, they can embrace you, and they can make you a fucking celebrity overnight. But man, you treat that media wrong. You know, if you just wrong one person in the media, or you're human. Humans are allowed to make mistakes. But in the case of the media, it's so taboo. It's so salacious. It's so succulent. They will just, they can easily bring you down. They can destroy your career in the same moment that they've given you that overnight sensation, that overnight success. And so I remember when that shit went down, you know, us black folks had to be the only ones. I was like, that's all right. Tiger's still one of us. We all got problems. Leave the man alone. Give him his privacy. I mean, we all still came to bat, defended him and everything. And I mean, he's come back from so much. I'm rooting, first and foremost, a full recovery. And you know what? As far as golf goes and all that, let's just go from there. But full recovery first and foremost. But thank the powers that be that the man had that seatbelt on, because that could have been a lot worse. That's for damn sure. All right, quick programming notes. I did watch this week's Impact Wrestling. I'm going to be recording a new Impact Showdown, and that will be uploaded to the platforms. Probably maybe Thursday evening or something like that. So be on the lookout for that. What I'll probably end up doing is going to be a 1-2 punch as far as content goes. The first thing I'm going to drop is Impact Showdown. And then the second thing I'm going to drop is the audio version of this show. So 1-2 punch, be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I get to enjoy myself a well-deserved couple of days off. Between this and classwork, I'm going to be a little bit busy anyway. But your next edition, Patreon members, I got some more stuff coming y'all's way this week too, as we get ready to wrap up February. So stay tuned for that. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Everybody else, looks like we'll be back on the air with you all Monday. March. Wow, that's quick. Damn. Monday, March 1st, 2021. That is when I'll be back live with you guys for a new RCWR show. We'll be live after Raw goes off the air. Please, as you make your exits, kindly go out of your way, leave a like, leave a comment, share. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Helps the YouTube guys out. By the way, I notice, and I know the person, I have an idea who's doing it. You'll notice from time to time that there's an individual that'll, you'll see the like ratio, and you'll see like, hey, wow, 7 people like this. That's cool. And then as you're continuing to watch the stream, you'll see that the dislikes will go, it'll basically match the number of likes. That's because there's an individual, and I have an idea who it is. I actually got a friend in YouTube that's kind of working the back end for me. And it's coming from the same IP address as far as the dislikes. And it's basically a person that's under multiple accounts that's doing it. That's crazy, right? And it's like, wow, like you must have a lot of free time on your hands if all you can do is just continue to make multiple accounts and dislike somebody's content. It's like, here's an idea. If you don't like somebody's content, first of all, if the person has been doing what they've been doing week in and week out for multiple years, your dislikes aren't going to mean a goddamn thing to them, because they're going to continue to do what they're doing regardless of the like-dislike ratio. So you're defeated from that standpoint, which brings us to the second point, which is if you got that much animosity, you've got that much hatred to make multiple accounts just to try to sabotage, what does that say about you? Maybe, I don't know, take a step back and say to yourself, what can I do to make myself be a better person? What can I do to make myself and my content be, if not as good as this person's, better than this person's? It's kind of, it's weird. It's weird when it's all said and done. I remember in younger previous years, I used to go crazy over it. Now I don't. Now I just laugh. I laugh my ass off and I just go, well, I'm still doing me. I'm still going to be right here doing what I normally do. I'm not stopping anytime soon. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those days. I just thought I'd share that because I thought it was interesting. So, yeah, to that person, I would stop if I were you because, like I said, my guy at YouTube, man, you know shit's kind of when they get a hold of your IP address and all, you don't need YouTube getting in contact with you. I'll tell you that right now. That ain't good. That ain't good. I've been at the receiving end of some mistaken identity, some mistaken bullshit from YouTube, and it ain't good the way they kind of. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it. I'm gonna edit the audio version of this, and I'll release, like I said, both shows tomorrow. But that is gonna do it. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR Show. Shout out to those of you that were tuning in live. Shout out to Dave. Shout out to Jock. Shout out to Owen. Did I miss anybody else? I don't think I really did miss anybody else. I think I pretty much had got everybody. Yep. And everybody else that's going to be checking out the show on the on demand and all that good shit. All right. Much love. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next go round. Adios, y'all.